Hey there, this is Pam Perry. So, we're going to talk today about collaboration. Collaboration is really a part of public relations because you can't have PR without some type of collaboration. So, today we're going to talk about a collaboration is the new currency, or how do I say collaboration equals cash? But Robert Youngblood, YB, he'll tell us all about it because he has a brand new book. So, right after this, we're going to get into it. What is the new way to collaborate today? All righty. So, I'm Pam Perry, and we'll be back right after this with YB.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So, listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey, as I promised you, I told you I was going to bring up YB.
Peace and blessings.
Hey there. Hey there. Well, welcome, my friend. So, congratulations, one, on the brand new book.
Thank you.
That you have that just dropped probably about maybe 6 weeks ago or so. It was around your birthday, I guess.
Yeah, right on my birthday, December 16th. Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. So what was, we were both in this particular book together. Our friend Brian Oles spearheaded this, but this is how we met. Actually, through Brian Oles, it was a collaboration, I guess you would say, because this is an anthology.
Yeah.
And so all of us came together to talk about the ultimate guide to dominate in the speaking industry. And each one of us came with our different perspectives on how to dominate in the industry, marketing, messaging, the whole
management. Yep.
Yes, management. So we collaborate on this, and it was about 30 of us. So that was a tough feat.
Yeah.
And then you decided, you and Marshall Fox, because I had Marshall Fox, I'll put the note down for the podcast where he was on, and I think he was on in December, and the book had just dropped or was about to drop. And so you and Marshall Fox, and how many other people, and name the name of the book?
Yeah, we had, so the name of the book is called Collaboration Creates Currency. So I had to make sure I bought a copy, keep a copy on me at all times. Matter of fact, I'm like Master P. I keep copies in the trunk. But yeah, there were 4 other co-authors, including Marshall. So it was Marshall Fox, it was Deborah Delgado, Sherrod Ledet, and then it was S. Elliott Brooks III. And it was a phenomenal experience. Each of them were people that I work with directly. They were either clients of mine. Matter of fact, all of them were clients of mine in some form or fashion in some of the consulting work that I do. But the common thread amongst all of us was your homeboy, Dr. Eric Thomas. And so that was a common thread. I either met them as a result of being in his community, or I was doing some work for him, or they had a common connection in the example of Elliott Brooks. Both Elliott and E.T. both went to the same school. They both went to Oakwood, not at the same time, but they run in the same circle. So it was a phenomenal experience. And I saw it as a way for me to, one, cement that relationship beyond the work that I did for them and providing them with consulting services, but we will forever be cemented together. So now, as I promote the book, I'm always going to be promoting them and increasing their visibility, credibility, and profitability.
Okay. So one of the things, you're known in many circles, and this is a name that is the LinkedIn locksmith. And really, you teach your clients and you talk about that, about how to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
It has always been one of my favorite. I'm 25K plus in LinkedIn. Facebook and we have a relationship that is always tested.
Yes.
And IG, I don't think I'm really part of the IG crowd. I mean, I've been on IG for a while. Instagram is cool. Instagram and Facebook are owned by each other. YouTube I love because it's owned by Google. But LinkedIn I always like, because this is one of the things I say about LinkedIn, and this too, being like the LinkedIn locksmith, is that it's really harder to be untruthful on LinkedIn. One, because people use LinkedIn as a resume of sorts. And so you know what it's like if you lie on your resume, you gonna get fired or you get found out.
Yep.
Where on Facebook, you can flex and just act like whatever. Same thing with IG, you can just put whatever, but with LinkedIn, a little bit more professional crowd. And primarily, I've been in business for myself and you're a consultant as well. You're online socializing and networking for business, not necessarily to show off or for ego marketing or those kind of things. So I like LinkedIn. Right now, I am actually in Facebook jail for whatever reason. I don't know what happened. Uh, it could be something as simple as someone saying that they didn't like my comment. And
Right.
and 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 a lot of times this happens during Black History Month. They're very super sensitive about anything very pro black or
Right.
that kind of thing. And so it could be the fact that, we have a cover story of Nikichi Taifa. Not that she's done anything wrong, but the fact that she is very Afrocentric, and that
Mhm.
kind of brings a lot of comments, that discussion, and just a whole era of what's going on right now. I remember I put
Right.
something up the other day with Dr. Ben Chavis, and people were like, "Oh, isn't that racist?" And I'm like, "So the word racist, if you say that, they automatically take it down, I guess."
Right.
But anyway, I'm in Facebook jail in the month of February. How about that?
Well, free Pam. We're gonna do a hashtag free Pam Perry. That's what we're gonna do.
I
Free
know,
Pam
but
Perry.
we got LinkedIn. So collaboration creates currency, the blueprint for visibility, credibility, and profitability. It really talks about how the each of the authors give it a different perspective on how they
Right.
really use the collaboration. And I like it, the fact that you can't get anywhere by yourself.
Right.
And I say sometimes too, YB, that people, especially African American people, we need to work together. I'm
Yes.
always about that. That's why we met, with BSN, Black Speakers
Hmm.
Network.
Hmm.
But sometimes I find, and I'll just say this, that there's a crab in the barrel syndrome
Hmm.
among African Americans, and maybe it's other cultures too, but I'm African American, so I know it's true in our thing,
Right.
that too many times people don't want other people to get up, and so they'll pull them down, or
Hmm.
they'll act like they are friends when they're really frenemies.
Right.
And so that whole mindset, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know whether it's from the Willie Lynch theory or what,
Hmm. Yeah.
but it's something that we have to constantly overcome and talk about in order to collaborate. So give me your take on your perspective of collaboration in currency.
Yeah, you said something powerful. So first of all, we first connected at George Frazier's Power Networking Conference,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so, that in and of itself it's a legacy building. It was meant for us to be together. But
I love
George
it.
always talks about being first to serve, right?
Yeah.
So this whole concept of collaboration, you hear people all the time, I want to collaborate. No, what they're saying is I want to get something from you. What we're talking about here from a collaboration perspective is we want to serve people. Like, how
Yeah.
can I serve you through a collaborative relationship where I want to help you win, and as a
Mhm.
result of helping you win, I'm already going to win, right? Like
Yes.
I'm already going to win. So when Marshall told his story about something, and I don't want to spoil it for the people that's going to get the book, but he did something for me that I couldn't do for myself,
Mhm.
right? He
Mhm.
served me. He did something for me that elevated my visibility. And then I took my gift and I did something for him that he couldn't do for himself, which led to him being able to attract 40 new clients in 90 days, right? So this whole concept of collaboration, we're not talking about what can I get. I don't want to be in your circle or at your table so that I can win. No, I got my own table. How can I
Mhm.
serve you so that the gift that I have matches the gap that you have? And so once I help to fill that gap, then we both win. Why? Because I'm going to forever be a part of your story. Brian does it all the time. I mean, that's the secret to success with Black Speakers Network. He's always focused on how can he serve other
Mhm.
people, and as
Mhm.
a result of him serving, it then allows for him to be a part of other people's lives. So I would say this first concept of collaboration creates currency is how can I start with service? How can I
Yes.
serve people? Now, what am I serving them with? I'm serving them with my gift. Now, I learned a long time ago that my gift was the ability to connect and ability to promote. I remember the very first official conversation you and I had, I called you because I was stalking you down. I said, listen, I'd love for you to be my PR mentor, right? Because I was in PR before I knew what PR really was.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
know, and so the whole thing is how do you identify your gift? And then once you identify your gift, then who can you serve
Right.
to collaborate in a way that they win? Now what we also have to be mindful of is if somebody else wins, so what? like like the joy of winning is like if I help Marshall win because I helped him win, I won. Now, I
Mhm.
mean, he may not mention me, and I think a lot of times we get emotional because, like you mentioned, the crabs. I'm like, but if that crab gets up there and they get out, okay, maybe they don't reach back down to help me. That's fine. I
Mhm.
still have to be willing to do the work myself to lift myself up. One thing I love about George Fraser always talks
Yes.
about we get further when we're connected. Like
Yeah.
you don't get as far when you're doing this solo as you do when you connected. Now, if a person burns that bridge, though, they can't never come back anymore. So
Mhm.
that's the part of the currency that we're
Mhm.
talking about. So it's not just cash flow. Cash flow is literally the lowest level. The highest level of collaboration is the trust. Once
Yeah.
you destroy
Trust
that
only.
trust, you can't you don't have it. You can never get to 100% anymore. So you have to be mindful of how you treat people when you develop those collaborative relationships.
That is so true. And I remember I got an email last week. It was from a friend of mine or a colleague of mine,
Hmm.
and a couple of them. And I won't say that it's a white or black thing, but they happen to be white. And they
Hmm.
said, "Hey, jump on my calendar. I want to know how we can help each other so we can refer business and refer each other business." And I was almost like, "Wow." I've been
Hmm.
in business 20 years. I don't think
Hmm.
I've ever had a call like that before.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there's another PR colleague that I'm continually doing work with, and we work on clients together.
Hmm.
Again, she happens to be white, and I'm like, okay, where it's a thing where people who want something from you more than they want something for you.
For
So
you.
these
Yep.
two people want something for me.
Hmm.
They see me. They're basically like they're not intimidated, I guess you would
Right. Right.
maybe that's it.
Right.
They're not intimidated. They're like, "Hey, this girl Pam, she's on the ball. Let's work together. Let's do some things." Whereas I find that maybe other people who are
Hmm.
black may feel intimidated of working with other people because they figure again that they may
Yeah.
be further along than you or something. So that's just been like my experience a little
Yeah.
bit, just from the standpoint, not with Brian though, because when Brian is different, we
Hmm.
all kind of have the same uncle, I guess you would say,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Frazier.
Uncle George. Yep.
Yeah, Uncle George. So Uncle George is kind of like pouring this into us, and this power networking conference is coming up again in August this year. So it's
Hmm.
in Houston.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the tickets to their powernetworkingconference.com, but making sure that you have that mindset to help, that you do collaborate, whether it's an anthology like you did and you have the four people in your book as well,
Hmm.
whether you are speaking to students, because you do that a lot, and you speak to a
Yeah.
lot of HBCU students as well,
Hmm.
but you're constantly doing that. And the key word about public relations is that it's about relationships, right?
That's
It's
right.
and so
That's right.
that's what you're good at, of really understanding how to go with the mindset of what George says, seek to serve first.
Yes.
And then that's where the real collaboration is. And so tell us how you, as a LinkedIn locksmith, how you work or maneuver LinkedIn, or how do you approach your strategy with LinkedIn?
Yeah. So, this all started when I was laid off from a nonprofit position in 2012, and I didn't know what my future held, but I knew who held my future. And so I prayed to God that He would deposit within me something that would allow me to live for Him while utilizing my gifts and talents to be a blessing for others. And that's when YB Connects came into my spirit. So I named my company YB Connects. And then I didn't even go looking for the opportunity, but a classmate of mine reached out because every time I posted on any social media platform, I kept putting hashtag YB Connects, hashtag LinkedIn. Now, at that
Mhm.
time, I wasn't the LinkedIn locksmith. That didn't come until 2016.
Okay.
So in the beginning, I worked with people who wanted to use LinkedIn to identify career opportunities. What I knew that most people don't know is that I knew how to network. That's why I was drawn to George, because George was literally teaching people how to network. I was drawn to Dr. Ivan Meisner, who founded an organization called BNI, Business Network International. Like these things, these are strategies. So I knew how to network. What I did was I began to find people who did not do that well, and then I began to teach them principles and concepts that we use offline that we can now use online. In 2016, I changed my avatar. I started working mainly with revenue generators. So not I wasn't really working more with job seekers.
Mm-hmm.
Because the job seekers think a little differently than revenue generators, right?
Yeah.
Job seekers, they're like, listen, I need a job. I'm not really interested in paying any money to do that. I need help, which is
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that. And there are people who are helping job seekers. What I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to provide value, but recognize that the value that I provided will produce a significant increase
Mm-hmm.
if you apply what I taught you. And that those things started to happen. I launched an initiative called the LinkedIn Recommendation Challenge, and through that challenge, one specific concept regarding recommendations helped people to make $30,000, $100,000, new clients here, new clients here, all because we focused on what could we give first versus what can we get. So my philosophy really focuses on teaching people how to network the
Mm-hmm.
right way. That's number one. How to communicate. The thing that burns my britches the most is when people send me messages and all I see is I. Not once are they reaching out to say what I want. They're reaching out to me. They want something from me. They keep talking about what they think they know about me. Well, your business likely needs this. How do you know? You're
Mm-hmm.
guessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking to have a conversation with me. You have a formed message that you cut and paste and you send it to everybody hoping that they're going to respond. And I don't respond that way. So I teach my clients how to avoid that, number one, and then how not to be like everyone else when it comes to promoting your professional brand. And then lastly is how do you show up when people land on your LinkedIn profile? Right?
Mm.
When people land on your LinkedIn profile, can they really get a glimpse of who you are, or are you using bio speak? Right? Are you
Mhm.
using what's in a bio? There's nothing wrong with a bio. But when I talk to you, I don't need you to be talking to me in third person. So right now, you and I are talking. You're not going to say, "Well, Pam Perry says." Well, wait a minute. I'm talking to Pam Perry. So why are you speaking in third person?
Well,
You should be talking
that
to me in a conversational tone so that we can build a relationship. And when people read that stuff on LinkedIn, they'll
this is
feel
where
like they already know you.
we kind of differ a little bit. Maybe it's just
Okay.
from my background. So I
Yeah.
do think a bio on LinkedIn should be in third person,
Okay.
and I tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as a publisher and a producer,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the one place where I can get the bio where I know is clean and straight
Mm-hmm.
and relatively short is from that LinkedIn. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll grab a bio if I want to read it to
Yeah.
introduce you.
Yeah.
And then if not, if it's in first person, then I've got to take the words and make it third person. So then
Right.
that's where it's kind of a little bit tricky. So mine is in third person so
Mm-hmm.
that someone can actually grab it, snatch it when they're introducing me. But
Right.
I know what you mean when you said that you want to introduce yourself as like, hey, I help, whatever. And that's in
Yes.
the headline, and that's cool because you want to
Mm-hmm.
say who it is that you are.
Right.
But in the bio part, like the about part, it's like, oh my goodness, even like bios on website, it's like, please put it in third person because I'm trying to use it to introduce you on a show or put it in
Right.
Speakers Magazine and that sort of
Right.
thing. And it's just like now I've got to convert it. So that's kind of like a little bit different because you could have both.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
one of the things too, you should have a long bio, a
Mm-hmm.
medium bio,
And a
short bio,
short one.
and
Yep.
a micro bio. A
Yep.
micro bio is like if you write an article and it's like maybe 2 or 3 sentences. A short one
Mm-hmm.
is like what someone will read on a podcast. A medium one is kind of like what they'll put on like a sales page. And then a long one when people are just trying to figure out who you are. So,
Right.
you need all the different ones when you're actually putting together your like your bio page. So bio
Yeah.
page of mine, it has like one that's like 500 words, 250 words, that kind of thing, so that people can pick which one they want. Because if not, if you leave it up to the other person, it's like, man, they left that out.
Yeah,
That out of my
absolutely.
mind. It's like, well, you gave him a choice. You didn't give it to
You
him.
didn't give it to them direct, absolutely. But it makes sense because when you're talking about speakers and authors, and they want to get on different shows and things of that nature. That makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
Most of the people that I was dealing with, though, they were revenue generators. Not to say that authors and speakers are not, but they were looking for ways to be different
Yeah.
from everybody else that was looking all the same.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of conversation. If I feel like I'm having a conversation, and I think a lot of it has to do with, and if folks are familiar with the whole disc concept, right? I'm a very high I on the disc, right? So
Okay.
so I'm very relational, whereas them people are very direct. They could care less about having a conversation. They just want the facts. Give me the facts, no fluffs. Give me what I need. I'm in and out. I got to make a quick decision. So a lot of what I was teaching my clients also was to keep that in mind when they are communicating. So when you start to identify who is your ideal client, what do they look like? How do they think? How do they operate? Well, if the people that you're going after are very direct, then you need to keep that short and sweet and speak
Right.
directly to those people. Other people, you won't have to worry about them. The last thing is that a lot of my clients will be scared to put certain things in because they felt like I don't want to alienate people. I'm
Yeah.
like, but listen, if you're a dentist, you only work on teeth. So you're gonna alienate people that have a knee pain. Like a person that's having knee pains, they're not gonna come to a dentist and
Right.
say, "Hey, I know you're a doctor. Can you help me with my knees?" No, I only work with teeth.
Just
Well,
be
you should
yourself.
you should learn to work with people with knee pain. No, I shouldn't. I'm a dentist. I deal with teeth. Go down the street to someone else that does that. And dentists
Focus.
do. Last time I checked, dentists do very well by being a specialist versus being a generalist.
Yeah, always. Specialists are the ones that actually are people, the ones that people pay premium price to work with because
Absolutely.
they're specialists.
Hmm.
One of the things too that I think probably helps a little bit with networking too is you are an alpha,
Yeah.
part of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and also part of the Rotary International.
Yes.
So a lot of people join different organizations. There's some people that leverage them, um, and then there's some people that don't. I know people who are a part of sororities and
Hmm.
fraternities, and they're just really members only,
Yeah.
or they're part of the Rotary. It's like, oh, I joined the Rotary Club, and it's like they think just because they're joined that magically you're going to get these connections. So,
Right.
tell us a little bit about how your organizations that you're affiliated with, how they have really helped shape your networking psyche, I guess you would
Oh,
say.
absolutely. So when we talk about visibility, if people don't know you exist, they can't do business with you.
Hmm.
So you have to put yourself in a position to be found. I thank God for my experience being an alpha. I'm going on 23 years in
Wow.
March, and
Okay.
so I did it as an undergrad, but I was influenced by men who saw the bigger picture. So when we talk about manly deeds, scholarship, love for all mankind, those aims allow us to operate from a personal perspective, so we can be trusted, so
Hmm.
we can provide value when we approach folks, so we can serve first and then know that those things are going to come back to us. But alpha is also a business.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, we can develop the brotherhood in the midst of doing the business of alpha. Right. So I serve as the corresponding secretary for my chapter. I'm also the co-chair of membership. Well, why am I doing those roles? Well, corresponding secretary sends out information, public relations, membership co-chair. I'm dealing with people, public
Right.
relations. So it's
Mhm.
I'm in lanes that are speaking to my gifts and my talents.
Yes.
You don't want me to be, the recording secretary. That you don't want me to do that,
Or
right?
the treasurer.
I'm not as detail oriented. But when you talk about how do you build relationships, how do you reclaim people, how do you retain people, how do you attract people, how do you promote? If you go to Pam, if you go to Henrico Alphas on Instagram, that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Mhm.
running that, right?
Mhm.
So I put
Mhm.
my sauce on it, right? And
Mhm.
so it allows for the chapter to increase its visibility. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't interested in Rotary for a long time. My current sponsor has been on my head, not on my head, but he's been working on me for 10 years.
Mhm.
But I attracted an opportunity where I'm doing some work at my daughter's school. Shout out to the Grove Falcons, right? Represent Grove Christian School, right? And so as a result of the outreach that I'm doing for Grove, my head of school thought it would be a great idea for me to represent Grove as a Rotarian. Why? Because Rotary focuses on service projects, community outreach. They want to support education. So it was more of a strategic move to be a part of it, but it
Yeah.
also spoke to my desire to be of service. Well, now as I'm providing service or as I'm serving as a resource, I'm going to attract people that say, hey, YB, I'd love to learn more about the work that you do. Now, honestly, I actually did the Rotary circuit.
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
able to
I know,
speak at several Rotary clubs before I became a member. And
right,
I would
right.
talk to them about what? About LinkedIn,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Because many of these folks are retired, but they wanted to learn how to use technology. So I began, and this is for those speakers out there. Rotary was an outlet to hone on my speaking skills.
Yes,
I wasn't getting paid monetarily, but I was attracting more currency
yeah,
because of the relationships that I was building. So
I love
I
that.
would say those two organizations are special and allows for me to, increase my visibility, my credibility, and ultimately my profitability.
I love that, I love that, because I wanted people to really hear how you do leverage it. I mean, it's a
Mhm,
little bit more work. I mean, it's
mhm.
not like punching a button and then, "Oh, okay, I'm signing the line, I pay my money, and then automatically I'll get these
Yeah, that doesn't
relationships."
work.
It doesn't
Mm-mm.
work like that. You do have to put in the time.
Yeah.
You have to put in the time, and you have to care. That's the
Hmm.
bottom line. You have to care about people. You have to care about people, really from the heart, and it's really something that can't be learned. You gotta either have it from just knowing the character of a person, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is their real character? What is their real
Hmm.
motive? And so what we're really talking about, and I just posted something like this on Instagram about the people who have the it factor.
Yeah.
You talked about ET. He had the it factor. He's actually a pastor. I mean, he
Hmm.
has a heart for people. And
Hmm.
so even though and same thing with Les Brown and George, they have a heart for people first. So when
Hmm.
you look at people that are like, "Oh, I wanna be like them," but they don't take it from the standpoint of, like, their ego. They're
Right.
actually putting that in another box, right? And they're actually looking at, "I care about people." And that's one of the main things that I'm finding with any of the speakers, even the speakers here. I think Tiffany Bethia
Bethea.
Bethea, yes,
Yeah.
she's one that really cares about people, and I can look at some of the other ones as well. I I wanna say it's Dupre,
Yeah. Dupree. Yep.
Dupree.
Yeah.
Those are people that really care, and it's just like it just oozes out of them,
Yeah.
and so connections for them are really easy because they care about people. Now, if
Absolutely.
you don't care about people, connecting with people may be a problem.
It's going to be a big problem because it's going to show. It's going to eventually it's going to come out, right? So
It's
a
just
wise
so
person once told me if it don't come out in the rinse, it's going to come out in the wash. It's going to come out in the dark. It's definitely going to come out in the light. And
that's
I'll
true.
say, with regards to ET, one of the things he taught me was, he never everything that he's done, even from being a high school dropout, he's always collaborated with people. That's why
Mhm.
he's the inspiration behind this book. In
Ah,
my
okay.
chapter, I talk about an encounter that prompted me to meet him personally
Mhm.
and how I leverage collaboration and my ability to follow up to connect with the number one motivational speaker in the world. So everything
Follow-up.
that he's done has been about collaboration, right? So he's never done anything by himself, and that spoke volumes to me.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, I've got something here, but then to be able to connect with people that have that common thread. Deborah Delgado. I met Deborah because I was doing some LinkedIn work for ET. I was communicating with her because she was interested in some of the things that ET was doing. She and I ended up connected. She became a client. Sherrod Ledet was in ET's coaching program. I was invited to speak for ET's coaching program about LinkedIn. I attracted him as a client, and then Elliot came as a result of a referral, which started with Quinn Conyers, who's also in our book. So
Mhm.
all of those
Mhm.
things is just you're just one connection away from your blessing. And I
Yeah.
would say, as we close, there's three G's that I always look to learn about people when I speak to them as it pertains to collaboration and how I can serve. Number one is, what are your goals?
Mhm.
So when I meet people, that's a question I ask. What goals are you looking to accomplish? Like I had a frat brother who just celebrated a birthday. I said, what goals are you looking to accomplish on this rotation around the sun? Right?
Mhm.
Goals. Number two, what gaps are you looking to fill?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
another
that's
way of saying what problems you have. I don't like asking
yeah,
people what their problems are. Most
yeah.
people say,
What
what's your
exactly?
problem? See, I'm from New York. If you ask somebody what their problem is, they're gonna want to fight. So I don't use those terms.
Yeah, I
I say,
like that
what
better.
yeah,
Yeah.
what gaps do you have? And then lastly, what are you looking to gain? It's a very similar question to goals, but people look at gains differently than goal. So you think about a gain. So I'm like right now, I'm looking to gain a certain number of podcast interviews, right? Why? Because I want to sell 10,000 copies of my book. Why? Because I want to cut checks to organizations as a proceeds for the sales of my book. Right now, Grove Christian School is one of the benefactors of the sale of my book. So when people buy the book, then I'm able to support Grove Christian School. So this is goals, gaps, and gains. When we understand that, and I get the answers of people, now I know how I can collaborate and serve them and be a resource for them.
And clarity is key. People have to know themselves. They have to know, they have to be able to articulate that. So clarity is key before anything. When you want to build a brand, if you want to get visibility, credibility is really staying consistent. And then profitability is like the end result of all of those things. So I just thank you so much. This is so good. I mean, I really appreciate you staying the course, staying in your lane, aligning yourself with those people that are doing that. And maybe we'll see each other at PNC Power Networking Conference this summer. It'll be hot.
Sooner than that, we'll figure out a way to connect. I need to get you to Richmond, Virginia to do some stuff.
Yes. There's a old client I had there in Richmond. She's doing a really good job. She's an author and a fiction author and writer, Stacy Hawkins Adams. And she's there and she's doing really good work in Richmond. That was the first time I'd ever heard like Richmond is like in DC area. She said, no, it's kind of far. It's not really, I mean, it's not DMV like that. It's like it's pretty far. So I was
it's
like,
a 2-hour drive, depending on who's driving. But don't tell somebody from Richmond they in the DMV. That's the one way to lose a friend. Don't do that. Oh, it's in Virginia. No, don't do that.
She told me that immediately. She said, no, we're not. I'm not near DC. We got our own thing over here in Richmond. So definitely would love to do that. Well, thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure.
Get out there and get known. It is one of the ways to get out there, get known, collaboration.
Absolutely.
And you really are the person that's really doing that. And so I want people to know they go to YB Connects.
Yeah, ybconnects.com. Yep, ybconnects.com. And if you're on LinkedIn, Rob YB Youngblood, you can find me there. Make sure anytime you connect with anybody on LinkedIn, make sure you send a personalized note and let me know that you heard me here on Pam's show.
There you go. I love that. So make sure you do that and let people know that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to hearing more good things coming from you. And it's all about collaboration. So we'll be talking, I'm sure.
Be encouraged. Thanks so much.
Hit me out. I support you anyway. Just let me know.
I will. Right.
God bless.
Take care. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So I'm Pam Perry and I am out.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com, where you help you shine like a superstar.